Yo, y'all listening to Savage Media Radio, your number one source for underrated and non-viral topics, discussions, and news from the web and around the world. Think you can handle that much truth? Buckle up, bruh. It's about to get savage.
That's right. We're back.
Ooh.
12 weeks, bitches. We here. The voice of motherfuckers, 12 weeks. I'm sorry, I'm super excited. 12 is
You're super high.
It's a lot of numbers.
Just be honest.
I'm super high and a good feeling. You know, listen, I have a good reason too.
It's fine. No one's judging you. It's fine.
Of course not. You know how we do. Carlos became famous from getting high, so I'm trying to be like Carlos. So this, who did it? Did anybody? I know John tuned in. I know Brandon tuned in. So if you guys didn't tune in on Saturday, I told you guys I had big news. So our Wednesday night listeners who don't listen to Saturday night, I publicly came out to the world with my sexuality as being a pansexual male, black male here in America in 2018. A lot of people don't even know what the hell pansexual is, but it's pretty much basically hearts, not parts. So you connect with people. I connect with you whether you're a man, woman, lesbian, transgender, gender fluid, whatever it may be. So with that being said, I'm free, motherfuckers. Hey, woo-woo.
I have a lot of extra parts, so that's good to know.
A lot of extra parts, Courtney. Let me find out.
People are going to be searching me now.
Now we're going to look you up real close. So thank you guys for your
She got a dick.
I do.
You got a dick? Oh, shit.
It's long.
She got I know it is. Y'all crazy old boss ass. She got a big old one.
Mandingo.
Mandingo. Ew, no. Visuals, no. Yes, so that happened over the weekend. Thanks.
I don't really have a dick, guys.
Supporting. I know you don't. I know if y'all ain't seen our husband, y'all gonna see him one day. There's no way hell Courtney got a dick. There's no way. I guarantee you. Looking at him, looking at her, there's no way. There's no way he would go for it. I promise you. But yes, thank you, Courtney, for that. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for all your support. Thanks all of you. Like real talk, all of you. I really appreciate it. And now I really feel like my life is complete in regards to me being happy, because happiness is from the inside. And so I'm happy, and I'm excited for what God's getting ready to do in my life and what's new to come, and the voice I'm going to be for so many other people out there. So yes, that is what's going on in Troy's life. Anybody else got something new before we got to kick it over to?
Yes, real quick. Hey, so Troy gave me a humongous contact high, okay? Because I don't do weed, I don't do anything but maybe liquor. A lot of liquor. So he was like all riled up and was talking in my face, while he was talking, right? And I didn't think anything of it. So the night went on as normal. We did the show. He went home, and I wake up in the fucking morning, and my heart is literally like fluttering. I thought I was gonna fucking die. So I woke up everybody in the house like, oh my God, something's wrong with my heart. Something's wrong. I gotta go to the hospital. Da 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 da. And then I thought about it after 5 minutes of crying. I went, it's the fucking weed. And my husband was like, what? It was the craziest fucking situation. But yeah, that was my weekend. Anybody else?
For me, I got to go to see Aladdin at the Pantages Theater in Los Angeles.
Ooh.
And it was so freaking over the top. And they did things that I just still scratch my head and can't figure out as far as stage production goes. And it was just fantastic. Really, really cool and a great show.
You scared me, Doug. I thought it was like a bad thing. I'm like, wait. I'm like, this is good. I'm like, oh wait.
No, it was so. I'm one of those guys that still believes in. When you're an entertainer, you believe in that, like people getting up there and performing, and it's kind of like when somebody says to you, "Hey, let me do a magic trick," and they do it, and you're like, "Wow, that's so great." But then you say, "Don't tell me how you do it. I want to believe in the magic." And it's the same thing for me when I go to the theater and I see a play or a musical or whatever it is. I don't want to know how they do it. I just appreciate the art form, and I was wowed, just completely on my heels, blown away at the performance of Aladdin and the things that they did production wise, making the magic carpet float, and there was a lot of production things where I was like, how the hell did they do that? It was incredible. And they're going to be touring, and if you get a chance to see them in a big theater, you should see Aladdin because it's just over the top.
Shout out to Aladdin. All right, good. That's what I'm talking about. You sold that. If I hope y'all listening, a lot, and y'all need to give Doug a little sponsorship on The Voice right there. He just plugged y'all real hard and makes me want to go see Aladdin. Shout out to that. I definitely want to go see it. And Doug, if you come to New York, we're going to have to go see a show so we can show Brandon and Carlos how to do it. They were singing out over the weekend, taking videos and looking real cute. So if you come to New York,
that was totally unplanned. I was at the bar drinking and I looked at him and I was like, "Is that Brandon?" No.
Shut up.
And then he was like,
dope.
I was like, "That's Brandon."
That is dope. Come on, celebrities running into each other in the street.
Right?
Wait, what is this? Is there like a story behind this?
It was a video that was surfaced online. That's as I say that on the blog. It was a video that surfaced on the blog of Carlos and Brandon hanging out the other night. So that's
and I was having way too much fun. I was having so much fun. And that was actually the first night I was out by myself and I didn't have no friends, so it kind of worked out. I was like, look, I do got friends in the world. Look at that.
Come on, when God gonna send them right on time. Come on.
That is awesome.
God gonna be on time. That's what I'm talking about. What's up, John? You tell us anything exciting in your world?
No, nothing exciting. Spent most of the week. Got a couple projects I'm working on. I'm writing a book with a couple colleagues of mine. Just a bunch of work stuff. Launched a new division, and nothing exciting. Kind of boring, actually.
Kind of boring. Look, John, ain't nothing kind of boring in your life. I know it ain't. You know, you can tell us that if you want to. But I know hanging out with John for a night will not be boring. But yes, shout out to your projects. But I'm gonna ask you a question, John. What's up with Java's problem, bro? We waiting on you. What's good?
Yes, talk about it.
This is Saturday.
We're working on it. You know, we got a couple things. We got a couple things in the works. We're putting a bunch of guests together. So we're planning on launching it with 7 or 8 guests. Really with some core guests on there to kind of launch, and
you have to wait
blog
for
launch
greatness,
that's going with that. So it's coming. It's coming. I promise.
Well, guys, you heard it here first on Savage Media Radio Wednesday night with the Voices. That's coming through the works, John. We're waiting on it. We're excited about it. But we can't wait. I mean, give us some teasers or something, some things to be thinking about. Anything. Let us know. You got us all excited. You can, give us a little something. And put something out there. Let us know.
Shameless plug, John. Shameless plug.
Okay. All right. I'll see if I can get a selfish plug in here somewhere.
You got it. But you ain't got to do it now. You got the whole show. Don't worry. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our little intro for the week. Thank you guys for listening and getting ready to get things started and kicking, moving over. Catch our latest broadcast here on Spreaker as well as SoundCloud, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. If you like our views and want to keep us talking, donations to the show are always appreciated via Patreon.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Google Plus for up-to-date information and discussions about previous and upcoming broadcasts. Plus, you can keep up with your favorite hosts right here from Savage Media Radio. We're going to kick things over now to our first segment of the day, Savage Culture. Let's get it. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. I love hearing that song, actually. It's every week. I'm like, yes, that's my song, like I'm in the club. I love it. Yes, Savage Culture, ladies and gentlemen, we're here. This is how we do each and every Wednesday when we kick it off. And so I had a couple things I was trying to decide what I'm going to talk about, what I'm going to do. And I decided to go with this is what we're talking about for Savage Culture. We're talking about workplace drama. I know a lot of y'all a lot of my co-hosts are bosses and, don't work in an office setting with nobody no more. Y'all do your own thing, but don't mean y'all ain't never worked with nobody and had office work drama experiences. But we're going to talk about that because I think that's important, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So with that being said, I have some situations at work, not me having workplace drama. I usually the type of person that don't have workplace.
Hello.
Doug's here.
Troy?
I think Troy just left. I think he's like,
he's tired of
kind of over this. Like, I'm out.
I think the ghost of Bob Marley got him.
What?
The ghost of Bob Marley got him.
Ghost.
Hit him with the harpoon. Boom. That was it.
Yeah, he just had enough of listening to Troy. He's like, what? I can't handle it.
Sometimes I'm tired of y'all too, so I totally get it.
That was it. Troy.
Listen, I actually support Troy in this. We weren't helping him out, so he had to go.
He had a dip.
That was it. He did. Bam. Bam. Back door. Bam.
Carlos, do you support his decision?
Yep. Hey, I almost didn't come today. I was in a depressed nap, and I was like, you know what? Let me get up on my nap. Let me get out of my depressed nap, and I just put on my thing. That's why I was late and trying to like scramble. But I'm back now.
Carlos,
I'm
you know
ready.
you can always let us know if you're not up for it. We don't pressure people. We just
No, life
No.
continues. Life continues. You
exactly.
gotta make it
Troy,
happen.
you back?
You gotta make it
Yes,
happen.
I'm back. Someone who doesn't know, obviously, that it's Wednesday night, calling my phone, interrupting this podcast. When I get off this phone, off this podcast, they're gonna get it. I don't know who it is.
Shit
They're gonna get it
happens.
because they obviously don't know who I am and know that what's more important to me right now is what I'm doing. I apologize, guys. I apologize to the listeners. My apologies. At the end of the day, some important things are going on behind the scenes. I don't know if that's what that's for. It better be, because if not, they're gonna get it. Anyway, with further ado, workplace issues. But I do want to read something to you guys before we get started. I found an article, according to themuse.com. And it's saying 6 basic rules you need to follow if you truly want to avoid workplace drama. And I think that's important because no matter who you are, where you are, workplace drama you can't avoid it. Somebody's gonna find a way to put you in the middle of it, even when you shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? So these are 6 rules, and then we could talk about workplace drama because I know everybody got something. You know, we can't get to everybody, but I want the most juicy one. So if you're gonna be talking on this phone doing Savage Culture right now, give us the juicy shit, because that's why we're here. We're straight Savage, ladies and gentlemen. Rule number 1. If you did it when you were 15, don't do it now. Very important. I'm going to read that one again because a lot of people don't know that shit. If you did it when you was 15, don't do it now. First rule, important. Second, save the venting for outside the office. Don't go to the office trying to make friends, tell them your personal business, they're not your friends. That's how you get all caught up in the game. Save the venting for outside the office. Rule number 3, when in doubt, wait to reply. That's like legit. Like, we're so quick to be defensive and we don't really take time to process the things that people are saying to us. Listen to what they're saying. Listen to their tone of voice, their body language. Try to process it, even if you feel like they're saying something to you in a negative way. Try to like process it for a second before you respond, because you never know. Like, you can make problems that don't exist by not giving it a chance. So when in doubt, wait to respond. Rule number 4: know when it's time to talk it out. At the end of the day, you don't have to talk about everything. You definitely don't want to do that. Don't be that person. Don't be that person, because you won't get invited to shit. Trust me, they will not invite you. There'll be so much secret work parties and shit that you will not get invited to. Know when it's time to talk things out. Rule number 5: have and use a go-to escape phrase. That's important. You got to have something to say. Look, at the end of the day, I ain't trying to lose my job. I don't want to get involved. So you know what? Yeah, I can't help you on this one. I'm going to have to back out on this one. I'll talk to you later. You got to have a phrase. You got to have something to get you out of it, because when they call you into the office because your name got involved in some shit, you need to be able to get out of it so you don't lose your job. And rule number 6: never assume negative intent. You got to always think positive. That's what I think is important. Always assume positive, even when it's negative, so that way you don't get offended and take it personal. So those are the 6 rules according to themuse.com. 6 basic rules you need to know to follow if you truly want to avoid office drama. I have one little story, and then I'm going to kick it off to somebody that got something juicy. I started my new job as a server. I ain't never told this story to nobody. Y'all listening? Can y'all hear me? We good?
Got you.
So I started my first job as a server. Got you, yeah. And I got invited to a private party. And I'm usually, as always, a turn-up king everywhere I go. Trust me, if you hang out with me, you'll see for yourself. But I didn't, it's a time and a place. I got invited to a private party, and I turned up a little bit too much. They can't handle it. I was turned up like I was in the club, or we was in somebody's house. And they was like, who brought this guy, pretty much? No one said anything. And I was like, no one said anything, but I sort of felt it later on as time went by at work. As weeks progressed, they didn't invite me to the private party type stuff. I'm like, ooh, I'm that guy. And I was like, fuck y'all. Y'all don't invite me no more. And I was at one time. Y'all could have told me something. Y'all could have sat me down. I'm a real G. So what? But yeah, so that happened to me. But anyway, that was real juicy. I ain't never told that to nobody. I'm being real. Like, that shit didn't feel good. Somebody could have told me. Somebody could have like, bro, I don't know what kind of shit she was on, what she was doing, but she was a little bit too turned. So if you want to go to the parties that's outside of here, you need to bring it down just a little bit. I would appreciate that, right? I'm just saying. Would you not appreciate, being a new guy at work? Somebody, you turned up a little bit, somebody was like, look, you need to not turn up like that ever again or you won't get invited. You feel me? No one pulled me to the side. No one said nothing. My feelings was hurt. But I got over it anyway. I still made my money, so it is what it is. Courtney, I'm going to go to you first, which I never do. I don't know why. Do you have some workspace drama that you know, something juicy though? Come on, because I know you got something. You know,
You know what's sad? I actually don't have anything too juicy, but I have kind of the opposite situation. I actually got fired because I wasn't partaking in the drama of the workplace gossip and stuff like that. I actually got I was 17 going on 18, and I got a job at a very well-known preschool. They got commercials. I'm not gonna name drop. And I was enjoying my job. I was getting people to, you know, the parents were asking me to babysit and whatnot, but a lot of the girls there would gossip and talk about, you know, other the coworkers or just their lives. And I'm not about that. I'm in and out. I just make my money and I go home. That's just the way I've always been. And I was that way back then too. And so out of nowhere, I got fired like before my 3 months. You know how you get that probationary period. So she fired me, and I never knew why. So a couple of years, fast forward a couple of years, and I met up with the girl that used to work there, and she said basically I got fired because I wasn't partaking in and I don't know how they worded it, but basically I wasn't personable to the staff, so I wasn't partaking in their drama. I didn't seem concerned with their lives. I pretty much just did my job like I was supposed to do and dipped, and that was a problem. So I got fired for that, and I was just like, well, I mean, I don't feel too bad because that's my character. I feel like it's a better employee than me just saying like, oh, girl, tell me more, and then not doing my job, and these kids are fucking choking on crayons. Like, I did my job. Right. But, yeah, so I kind of have the opposite situation, but, you know, it's not too juicy.
Wow.
And definitely unique.
They were hating. That was good. They were hating, first of all. Bye, Felicia.
Right?
I hated on Courtney because you was going to be the boss, and they didn't like that.
Exactly.
Like it. Because you're like, I'm not. We need to call. What's our Skype email? Get her on this call. Let's call her back.
Right?
Let's get her on. Like, excuse me, miss. What's your hating ass? Why would you do that to Courtney? We just want to let you know. No, right. I'm sorry. I'm lit. I'm going to start trouble. I'm going to go to Brandon now because I'm doing things different. I never really, you know.
I don't think Brandon's on with us tonight, actually.
No?
No.
Okay, fine. Dang. All right, cool. Well, Doug, I'm gonna go to Doug because I'm not calling Doug either. But I want to see, you know, I know you got you don't have a common workplace. You're a musician, so your workplace was just, you know, a whole bunch of niggas in the van. But
right. So I would say that it's just true. So I would say like a lot of times it has to do with people. Like I'm 100% pro when it comes to it, and so a lot of times for me it's the guys not drinking or smoking too much before the show. They can do whatever they want after the show. I don't care. But before the show, I'm always a little bit more sensitive to that, just because, you know, people are paying you to show up and be professional. And
right.
I hate
you can't your words are
so most of the, I guess really most of my experiences have been pretty good with the exception that a lot of times for me going up front, I usually tell people like, hey man, no drama whatsoever. Like, don't create any static. Whatever. If we have a beef with a sound man, we have a beef with another band, or whatever it is, beef internally, we take it outside and we keep it outside. We never, you know, do it in front of, you know, inside the building. And I've been pretty good and been able to duck and dodge around that one. So I don't know. I'm pretty good. I mean, every once in a while when you do long tours, you have to do what I call talking people off the ledge, where they start to get they get cranky, and then they start showing up late, and then they don't, you know, they're not on the bandstand late and all that stuff. But I usually I correct that stuff really fast. And so for me, it's not really too much drama because I clip it way at the beginning. So I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm pretty good in that world. I've never really worked in like a traditional office environment with a lot of people. It's always been very, very independent. Even when I worked at Suburban Noise, I guess you could say the boss, but it was, you know, less than 5 people. So my experiences have always been more positive than negative in those situations, but just by being a real good, by being a person that kind of reads situations really well and tries not to be a jerk off.
Got it. Listen, that's always good. You always need somebody to be balanced, so that's always a good thing. So shout out to you because I'm usually that person. So I know what the struggle's like when it comes to that. Carlos, do you have any workplace drama situations that, you know, was real juicy before, you know, whether you was on the work side or you work for somebody else, or, you know, as an entrepreneur being the boss?
Well, not anymore. Like you said, I'm the boss, so my word is bond. So not anymore, but when I was working. I remember there were a couple of times where like this, like you have to be careful. And one thing I will say is when you make work friends, make sure you find out how old they are. Because just because you're 20 something doesn't mean they're 20 something. And just because they have a certain position, they might be the supervisor. They could still be 18, 19. I went out with this girl and she ended up like going out. We went out after work. We were drinking. I invited her to stay at my house and she started asphyxicating, like literally throwing up in her sleep. And I was like, girl, you can't be doing this. And she was my boss. And I was like, how old are you? How long have you been drinking? The girl was 19 years old. Had not ever drank really like that in her life. So not only did that put me in danger, like, with the law, because you have an underage person drinking with you, then you have like your boss, you can lose your job. So just be very careful. I don't support fraternizing at work. I know it sucks, but I don't support any type of fraternizing.
I feel you, Carlos. That's what. See, we need stories like that to get people to understand. Because that's reality. Like you literally can really lose your job over fraternizing. What you know, and your boss. Let's be clear. Your boss is your boss, and they don't care about you. They care about themselves. So they will throw you under the bus just as fast as they can to save their own ass. So don't get involved with people. Amen. Please don't, because they do not care about your job. They don't care about themselves. They care about themselves more than they do you. I see it every day at my job. I don't care. Yes, I see it, and it is what it is. That's why I go to work and I do my job and I go home. And I do it the best that I can when I'm there. So you can't complain about me and say nothing, because all you can say is positive things. And that's how I always keep it. And that's why my name is credible on these streets, because I make sure that experience is everything to me, no matter what it is. And your brand is everything. You know, especially when you're on the ride trying to do something in your life, you're going to let something like this, a work situation, mess up everything you worked so hard for. You shouldn't have messed around with them fools in the first place. Point blank, period. So thank you for that, Carlos. John, last but not least, before we kick it over to Carlos. John, you got any place situations?
You know, first of all, Troy, I got to say thanks for preaching. Like, I hate bosses. Like, I hate that boss mentality. Like, throwing employees under the bus, like that is like, to me, like one of the most disgusting things like ever. Like that just makes me so upset. And you said that just got me a little fired up.
Come on.
You know, I don't have a ton of workplace drama. I do have a good story though. At the end of high school, summer after high school, kind of beginning of college, I was working at a large sporting goods chain that is now out of business. And we had like a huge, just kind of like a main store, like you would see it like Dick's or something like that, just a big sporting goods store. And then across the street, we had a little satellite golf shop, and it was just only for golf. And it was like this little small kind of almost house that just had been on the street for years and years and years. And they decided to turn it into a golf shop. And they asked me to take a few shifts a week, one or two on the weekends. And this went on for like over a year, probably. As soon as I went over there, like I realized like nobody was ever coming. Like I would work like a 5 or 6 hour shift and I'd get no customers. So I'd be at work. I see maybe 1-2 people, 5 or 6, like that was busy. So I'm like, man, what am I doing? Like, you know, all my friends are out doing stuff, you know, out at Margarita Monday or something. So I'm like, well, why don't you guys just come over here? And over the course of this, it was about 14 months I worked there. This little golf shop on this main strip that almost got no customers was packed almost every night that I worked for almost an entire year with just my friends coming over. They'd bring beers, they'd bring food. We ended up putting a TV in this golf shop. We watched like Fear Factor every Monday. That's how long ago this was, when Joe Rogan was hosting Fear Factor.
Right.
Yeah. And we literally just hung out. Well, I got paid. My friends came over. We watched TV. We drank. We ate. And it was the best job I ever had. Everybody just hanging out at the house, we would say. It was just a little golf shop. Needless to say, some of those friends are still my best friends to this day. And selfless plug here. One of them is going to be my co-host on the Java's Problem podcast, starting soon. So there's the plug, Courtney.
Hey. Yeah.
Oh, Troy, there you go, Troy.
Yeah, thank you, John. That's what I'm talking about. So listeners out there, the job is coming. John's working on some things. John, thank you all for participating in this round of Savage Culture. It was so dope. I appreciate you guys. That's what I'm talking about. Teamwork, baby. We did it. Workplace drama, we don't need it. Point blank, period. So stop the bullshit. That's it. That's how we gonna end it. We're gonna move it. He's over.
I mean, Troy, we don't need drama in general. What's the story with everybody wanting to have drama? Like, we don't need that garbage. Like, what good does that do anybody?
TV. Listen, we gotta end it. But drama gets you a reality TV. Drama gets you checks now. Okay. So because that's the reality we live in right now, that's why people want drama. I mean, I like watching my drama TV. So we're gonna kick things moving to Carlos. Kick it to Carlos. Let's do it.
Hi guys, how are you this evening? So today, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be my normal outgoing self. I have a lot going on in life.
Cheer up, Carlos.
But I'm going to try to give you guys, I know, hey, you guys love me, but this system, I'm going to give you guys a quick update. If you know what's been going on with the court case, with everything with the police brutality, and they're trying to charge me with all these outrageous things. I went to court today. My attorney is super confident. Thank you guys who donated to my GoFundMe, allowed me to get an attorney. So I went to court super confident. We did get the extension on the court case because we just need more time just to gather our motions and everything we need to do. But I'm laughing at it now, but it's not funny. Christopher and I, if you guys know, we have a no contact order. So if you've noticed on my social media, I have it. That's why I was at the club with Brandon by myself with no friends or husband. And I'm so happy that Brandon was there because I definitely was there clubbing by myself. But we have a no contact order, so I can't see him. But he was at court today, just like any husband would be. Like if your partner is going to court, you're going to show up. Tell me why just because I looked at him, they are trying to charge me with breaking my no contact order because I looked at him in the court. And it's funny. Anything. Oh yeah, but that's what my attorney said. They're trying to find any snippet. I've done everything. I moved an hour away from my house. I've done everything in my human right to not break your guys' law and to follow your rules. But because your case is so weak, they're literally trying to find anything. So I was 2 seconds from being arrested today in the courtroom because they rewind the camera. They rewound the camera and they're like, well, you looked back, but we don't know if you initiated a contact or not. And my attorney, who's badass, was like, well, looks can be deceiving. So my client's free to go. So I got out scot-free today, but they may still try to charge me, which is kind of why I'm a little bit down. But that goes into my topic today. Today I cried. I try to be strong. If you guys know me, I'm probably the strongest person I know, not to boost my own self, but I've been through a whole lot. And this situation, is it dramatic and is it devastating? Yes. But I've been through way more when I was in foster care, so I know how to handle myself. But I want men to know that it's okay to cry. Gay men, straight men, women too, like whoever you are, it's okay to cry. And today's topic is going to be a couple topics. Troy, I didn't listen to the Saturday show, but I do want you to tune in because we're going to kind of hit on your sexuality a little bit here later because it ties into toxic masculinity. So I'm going to ask you a very specific question. But if no one knows what toxic masculinity is, it's a psychology term used to describe certain traditional male norms of behaviors in the United States and in Europe. So like men don't cry. Men work the jobs. Men work 9 to 5. They take care of their families. And those ideals are okay. But when you do it at a toxic level, it's destroying. Like we see there are polls and there are articles out there for all of our mass shootings and the similarities and the connect to toxic masculinity that these people have. When I was crying today in court, my attorney said something and he was right, but it also had me thinking. He said, "Why are you crying right now? It's making you look weak. It's making you look already like you failed what you've gotten." And at a certain point, yes, you don't want to see certain people see you cry, but the way he was saying it made me seem like, bro, like, why are you even crying? It's not you're a man. And I wanted to talk about that. Do you guys think it's okay to cry? Do you think it's okay to tell your children it's okay to cry? Do you think it's okay to tell your children it's okay to play with Barbie dolls? Do you believe in toxic masculinity? Brandon, what do you think about this topic? Do you think it's real, or is it something that we're just making up as like right or left wingists who are just like just very lefties? What do you think, Brandon?
I think it's okay to cry. It's, for guys, it's, it's okay for us to cry because I cry when I'm at my lowest point and when I'm just like broken, like I can't fight anymore. That's when I'll cry. Or when I'm drunk. You'll just catch me bawl out all those tears. But that stereotype, I honestly don't like when, the men have to work, the man never cries. We all hit that breaking point when we just can't make it, and we all need to also turn to somebody that we also trust to at least talk and get it out. Because if you don't talk it out with anybody, something's going to happen to you where you just like, suicide thoughts come around, or that's how murders start. People just overstressed about themselves.
Exactly. And the article I read is actually, it's done by Harper's Bazaar. And it was, why are men the most, like, we're the most gender that does school shooting. We're the most gender that does, like, terrorist type shootings.
Yeah.
Women do it too, but it's majority of it is men, regardless what the race is. It's men, and they were tying the connection between, like, these men didn't feel like men because their whole life they were told that you have to be a man. And maybe they were picked on, and maybe they were not having a great time in school. And instead of, like you said, going to a counselor and be like, hey, I have a problem, I need help with this. They literally just like let it drive them crazy, and it's not an excuse of what their action was, but it's definitely something to look into to make sure that we don't do it as men, gay or straight, that you don't find yourself in this toxic masculinity, like, oh, I'm better than women, and I can't cry and I can't do these things because it makes me look a little bit more feminized. So Troy, that kind of goes into you say you opened up as pansexual. I was having this conversation with someone who's AFAB. They don't identify with a sex at all. So it's not exactly what you're going through, but it's in the transgendered and that it's out of the gay and lesbian realm, but it's in like its whole new category. Right. How do you feel right now as a man? Because I'm very interested to see you openly saying that. Like you said, it's the person. You see their soul. You see that person. Now, it doesn't matter. They could be a tree. I hope you don't fuck a tree. But hey, if you find a tree that's lovable,
but you got a big ass. I'm not thinking about it, but
you be like, "Who's getting that ass on that tree?" No, right. But you get what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. But is it the person? Does that make you feel less masculine? Like, does that mean like now you can't cry, or like, how do you feel about this whole topic?
Actually, I'm glad you asked me that, because it's still all new to me. Like, it's not something. I'm a private person, not a secret person. So my life hasn't been just been private. Like, it's not like no one knew. Like, my whole family knew. Like, all my friends knew. I've been engaged to a man when I was 18 to 25 years of my life. So it wasn't a secret. You know what I'm saying? But I've never publicly been in pictures with a man kissing or a woman kissing or nobody. I've just never been with anyone. So a lot of people are always make their assumptions. And so I feel more powerful now than ever. And the reason why I say that is because I would feel less of a man being uncomfortable with people not knowing who I am, and being around straight men and being comfortable being who I am, because I'm not typical like a flaming man or gay guy. So, a lot of people don't know my sexuality unless they ask me, or they might think maybe not. But at the end of the day, I feel more powerful now that I know that I've used the voice and power that I have to not have to be subject to any of those things anymore. So for me, I definitely agree that this whole masculinity thing is a problem. They need a hug. Let's start with that. It's like
they need a hug.
That's what I'm telling you. If we just stop what we're doing right now, literally, and started a campaign, I did something recently, some on social media. I'll find it again. But it was Operation Hugs Before Stones or something like that. Like, God gave me vision about even without sending cats the first stones, because everyone's out here trying to judge people, especially with social media. We got all these social media bullies. Everybody thinks they tough and want to talk until they get busted upside their goddamn head. Like, don't stop. Right. Don't do that. We talked about that. We talked about that on the past episode of Real Short Fridays, of just proper social media etiquette. There's a proper way for you can voice your opinion. You sure can. But if you do it a certain way, you're going to catch these hands. If you're close to me, if I can catch you, I'm going to catch you. Like the screen. But I also put a post that's saying like bullying, like that goes back to everything that I've always talked about. I always figure somehow I like to touch on the hard topics, because that's what I go through in life. This toxic masculinity thing has been said to me over and over and over by toxic men. Like, I've had men in the straight community that's just like, oh, it's sad that you're gay. Or even women. There are even women. They're like, oh, you're too pretty to be gay. Women can have toxic masculinity, which a lot of people don't understand. When a woman comes up to a gay man and was like, oh, you're too pretty to be gay, I can turn you straight. Oh, you're too pretty. Let me have some of your seed. Not only is that sexual harassment, that's literally toxic masculinity. Like, that's hilarious.
But no, it's a thing. It's a thing.
How you gonna change somebody? You can't change
You
someone.
can,
What
but
they
women
like,
can
even if-
also have a toxic masculinity ideal, and then that's a lot of the times those are the women who, like, I have a lot of friends like that. Those are the women who end up being beat all the time because they want a hard neck, they want a thug nigga who's gonna like fucking literally fuck them up. But then I'm like, why do you want that? Why don't you want a caring, compassionate man who listens to your problems?
Cause that's
I
not
don't
just women.
understand.
That's the gay
Don't-
man
what-
stigma too. It's not just women.
That's true,
That's
gay
not
man.
just women. That definitely is.
What do you think about toxic masculinity?
I think that that's just horrible. I think it's horrible, and for I guess for me, you know, I'm a guy and an artistic guy and a ridiculously sensitive guy. So that's something, you know, before Troy, you and I were talking about, like, have I ever been in the doghouse and stuff like that?
Right.
You know, one of the things in my life that I've done is always turned inward to learn about myself, and there are times that I'm on both sides of the extreme in that, like, I can navigate really well with my wife and with other people because I'm in touch with my emotions and I can empathize and put myself in somebody else's shoes. And maybe that I don't think I'm the only one that can do that. I know other people can do that. I have a tendency to be almost a little bit more on the sensitive side, where if I get too happy about something, that can make me cry. If I get too sad about something, that can make me cry. So I can be on both sides of the spectrum, masculine or not. The only thing is, for me personally, I usually like to cry in private. But beyond that, it's like, I think that it's good to purge those negative feelings and get that out. I think that's good. And then you have a little bit more time to reflect on things. So I think crying's a good thing. I think being macho and that being in that space, I just don't, that's just too foreign to me. I think it's just really like kind of, it's beyond my comprehension, just because I'm a guy that grew up in an environment where I was very aware of my feelings and very aware of other people's feelings. So I just never, you know, so that's kind of where I am. And in respect to my kids, you know, my kids are going to do, you know, my younger girl, she's a little bit more actually on the tougher side. She wouldn't really let you see her cry, but she's sometimes very sensitive. My boy is very, very sensitive. So, and that doesn't mean that they like can't walk out the door without, you know, stumbling and crying over things, but they know that that's just okay. That's a human, real reaction. Why would you want to try to hide that if that's really what's happening, whether it's something you're happy about or something that you're sad about? I think when you suppress emotions, that's bad. I think that's a bad thing. I think the more connected you are with your heart and your body and your mind, the better.
I totally agree. I'm real quick, John. What do you think about toxic masculinity? Is that something that you practice towards not doing, or have you seen it in the world? What is your view on that?
You know, Carlos, I'm glad that you asked, because I think it's a real problem, and I think it's a problem that is really serious, but it's a problem that's starting to go away. You know, I'm kind of that mindset, was brought up of that mindset, like, you know, you don't cry, none of that, you know, you don't share your feelings. And that never really did any good for me growing up. Honestly, it didn't do any, it really didn't have any, me like being so, I guess, guarded and shielding of myself. It never did anything good for anybody, you know, never made any better friendships, never helped me talk about and get rid of my feelings and share them and those type of things. So, you know, in high school and college, I started, you know, thinking, you know, this isn't helping, you know, so I started, you know, being more open and sharing with people, and it did me nothing but good, honestly. And it's, you know, it's kind of like an older generation that is kind of perpetuating that stereotype. And now that generation is kind of fading out, you know, for no better use of words. I think it's a good thing in that sense. And it, you know, not sharing and not crying never did me any good. So I had to open my mind. I had to get woke or something like that. I don't know, something
Get
like that.
woke. Get woke. But no, John, to wrap up, you made a good point, and I've said this before in a podcast. The old people just need to die. Like they're I'm sorry if you're old. No, listen. I love you all. I love old folks. But the people who are sticking in their ways, who don't want to change with the times, we could kind of do better without you here, because it's like it's you passing on those ideals. And we've talked about this on other subs about like with colorism and hate and racism and how it's passed down generationally. And this is something, like John said, that's passed down generationally. So like Doug said, he doesn't pass this down to his kids. So we know, and we know millennials and people after the kids after millennials have a whole different ideas of what is acceptable. They grew up with gay people. They grew up with transgender people. So their ideals of what's acceptable is a lot different than ours. So I agree with you, Troy. I don't want all old people to die.
No.
And Carlos,
Can I say one thing? Carlos?
Yeah.
No, I know you don't. I really should mean that. No, but what I feel from all of this, what's important in all of this is that they can't really die. They can't go nowhere, right? And they're already made up their mind what it is. But their mind literally can be changed. It's the persistence. It's the saying, you know what, Carlos being Carlos, and connecting with one that changes their life. You're like, whoa, okay. Well, if I can change this one, then maybe I can change another one. And then, you know, so I feel like
exactly. That's a good way to look at it.
Challenging yourself to connect with one old person and change their life in a way to make them understand, hey, you know what, it's not as bad as I thought it was. We'll make more change in the world trying to kill them all. I'm just saying.
No, that's a perfect way to end the segment. Like maybe try instead of trying to look at the problem, try to change the problem with one person at a time. But I'm going to end with kicking it with Carlos with it's okay to cry. It's okay to not be over the top excited all the time. That's usually what I am. I know, I forget who was saying, they're like, is that really his personality? Usually I'm over the top excited. Today I'm not. And it's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be down sometimes. But as long as you know that you have a village behind you and you have a lot of people behind you and that you know that what you're standing for is right, it's going to be okay. So thank you guys for kicking it with me this week. Stay strong and keep on smiling and crying if you need to.
I'm dancing now. I'm sorry. Every time it comes on, I'm dancing. Anyway, I'm putting up my little segment. Be sure to catch our newest segment, Straight Savage, hosted by our very own Coco, here on Savage Media Radio live broadcast every Wednesday. Savage is the name and debate is the game. Listen as we bring up some seriously raw, unfiltered, relatable, and debatable topics that are sure to ruffle more than a few feathers. That's Straight Savage, Wednesday nights right here on our live show beginning at 8 p.m., which is actually right after this. We are excited to announce that we will soon be launching another show here on Savage Media Radio called Job is Problem, hosted by our very own John Mercer. You guys heard from him earlier today, gave us a little update. Whoop, whoop. So be sure to check out this Power Pack and informational podcast about what is affecting business today and how we can make changes for the better tomorrow. Stay tuned for the launch date and announcements and more info on this fantastic show. That's Job is Problem with John Mercer right here on Savage Media Radio. We're looking for talented singers, songwriters, rappers, and their like-ups to feature on our weekly segment, Today in Music. If you'd like us to consider featuring your work, contact us today on savageonair@gmail.com, and be sure to include your name, best contact number, links to your SoundCloud, Bandcamp, or individual track, and be sure to include the title Today in Music feature in the subject line. We are excited to hear from you. Now let's move things over to our girl Coco with Straight Savage.
I'm sorry, Troy, I wasn't dancing. I'm like half awake right now. So I can't dance to my own intro. All right, guys. So I must say today I'm a little bit nervous because I don't have a lot of faith in myself because I am going to be put in the hot seat today. If you guys didn't tune in last week, what I did was I played a game with my co-hosts where I had to ask them very personal questions. I know I need to step my game up because they weren't hot topic and hot and bothery enough, but they were definitely personal, and if they refuse to answer, they would have to donate $10 to a charity of my choice. Now, them charities ended up being a little dry, so I'm gonna try my hardest to be able to get some more money for them today. Today we're playing a different game though, where I'm in the hot seat, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask each of my co-hosts, with the exception of Troy, because we got to keep it fair, keep somebody sitting out so they can kind of monitor the craziness. But I'm gonna ask them each a question. Now they have been briefed on the questions I may ask, but they don't know the exact one. So their job is to provide me with a story, an answer to the question, and a story related to it. It has to be either factual or it has to be complete bullshit. So I'm calling this game Savage, Truth, or Bullshit, and it's just that. And basically, I have to guess if they're telling the truth or if it's complete bullshit. If I get it wrong, then I have to donate $10 to a GoFundMe of my choice, which will then definitely promote on our social media accounts and, hopefully get some money up for them. But I'm going to just jump right in because I got a little bit short on time. But Troy, are you ready? Are you ready to kind of like monitor and like moderate the crazy bullshit that might occur?
I'm listening. I'm here. I'm listening. I'm being the moderator, so I'm doing my job.
Awesome. So I think today I'm going to start off with Brandon, strategically, because I don't get to hear from Brandon as much, and I want to hear, his inflection, see if he's a great bullshitter or if he's got some great ass stories, some juicy stories for me. So Brandon, you there? You there with me?
I'm here. What's good?
Cool.
Good.
All right. So my question my story that I want you to come up with is your most embarrassing bodily function story. You gotta make sure it's good, whether it's true or false, and I gotta let you know if I think it's real or fake.
Oh, Jesus!
You got this, B. Don't worry.
Breathe.
Brandon.
You got this. You want me to come back to you?
You never put a grapes in your ass, Brandon? You never put grapes in your ass? No.
You want me to come back to you?
Please.
Okay, we'll come back to Brandon. Cool. All right. So I'm gonna kick it over to Doug. All right, Doug. What is your best hookup or walk of shame story? Now we know Miss Lady might be listening, so.
Okay. Boy, that stuff's gonna live out there in the cloud forever.
In the interwebs.
Okay, out in the interwebs. Here you go. So. Okay. One time I was in Richmond, Virginia, and I met this young gal, and we were having a good time, and I asked her if she would submerge her body in ice before we hugged.
Wait, what?
What?
Please explain.
What?
Fuck that! Are you kidding?
Explain. I need more than that. You have to elaborate.
One time I was in Richmond, Virginia.
No. Don't do it. That don't mean start the story over. I heard everything. I need you to elaborate.
Okay. Cool. So I was curious. So I asked a girl if she would get in ice before we hung out.
So
wait.
Before you went steady. Before you went steady. Read between the lines. You know what he's trying to do.
What I'm saying is before I'm I'm asking this girl if she'll lay on ice.
Okay, I got you.
Like, what is lay on ice?
Juicy.
What?
Literally, like I'm asking this girl to like go in an ice tub.
That's weird.
They're trying to. Doug, you gotta be out there. You gotta let us know why. Explain for the fellas that are confused.
Look, there are some people that believe in necrophilia, and I don't. But I'm just saying that there was a point where I had a couple of cocktails, and I was like, look, you and I are going to hook up. Why don't you go in the ice bathtub?
I'm done.
Oh, my God.
Listen, don't do that. First of all, let's leave Doug.
Signing off.
In that moment. Don't do that. First of all, I got Doug. I got you. Listen.
Oh, wait. Okay, Troy, I got to focus. Ready? So,
yes.
A part of me feels like this might be complete bullshit, but I didn't answer yet. Because he has a location, Richmond, Virginia, like that's because I heard a location, I'm gonna say And plus he had a hard time talking about it, so his wife may or may not have heard the story before. So I'm gonna
Right.
say it's a true story. Am I right?
What,
No
all
way.
right.
No way.
I'm gonna say it's true.
First
No
of all,
way.
He's a musician. He's a musician. Musicians do crazy things.
So Doug,
And
am
at the
I
end of the day,
right?
He said he had a couple drinks. Come on, give
No
him
way.
a minute for that.
No way.
True story called Ice Woman Cometh.
Come on, come on, Courtney got it right.
All right. Okay, just warming up. Okay, so my next victim is John. All right, ready? What is your most embarrassing date story?
Okay.
This can't be too hard for you, so.
No. This is no. I got one. So
Okay.
let's see. I was just turned 21 at this point, and I was at an Outback Steakhouse.
Okay.
So this is almost just over 10 years ago. I was at an Outback Steakhouse with an uncle, my parents, my sister, and somebody else. I don't remember who it was. It doesn't even matter. It has no bearing on the story. But our server was really cute, and she kept coming over the table. We were always making eye contact, and she would always. I think she complimented me on my shirt or something dumb, and I was complimenting her. Like it was just like it kind of felt like there was something there,
Okay,
So
gotcha.
Outback Steakhouse, so I try to figure out what this girl's name was. So I check the receipt, I get the name, and awesome, I said goodbye, it was great, and she waved goodbye, she put her hand on my shoulder. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is gonna work here, So next day, actually no, it was later that night. Called back into this Outback Steakhouse, asked for the girl's name that was on the receipt, and said, hey, my name is John. I was in there with a bunch of other people, and hey, I don't know, and I don't even know what I exactly said. So I'll give you the gist of it. But I thought you were really cute. Wanted to see if you had some time this weekend, if we got get a drink or something like that. And she's like, yeah, I would totally love to. It'd be great. Ended up texting her a little bit for the next day or two. Made plans to go out on Saturday night. She says, yeah, just come pick me up at my house. I go to this girl's house. This was not my server at all. Not even close. No chance.
Man.
Oh my God. And she's like, hey, she gives me she totally knew who I was, I guess. And was totally happy. And I was not happy. I was like, this is not you, but.
Was she a chunkster?
So see, now somebody's calling me on Wednesday. Like, geez, they didn't know I had better things to do. So I didn't know what else to do. So we went out on this date and had a good time. Took her home. That for me, there was no chance. It was not going any further. I was mortified. I don't think she even knew. But most disappointing and embarrassing date story of my life, no question.
Why still take on the date, John? Why you just say, girl, you lied? You can't miss me lied.
I panicked. I didn't know what to do. She had a smile on her face. She just looked so happy, and I was like, "Oh my God,
Who paid for dinner?
Server?
I paid for dinner. Who paid for dinner?
I did. Yeah,
John, you're a true gentleman.
You are a trooper.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do.
Your phone broke up. Somebody called you. Your phone broke up. Somebody called you. Courtney asked you a question and asked you what she.
Oh yeah, was she a chunkster?
Yeah, no question about that. I mean, not obese by any means, but yeah, definitely not the person that I I was definitely not my server, so no question.
Let me see. Okay. Because I praised Doug on having a location in his story, I feel like you might have said Outback because it would make it more believable to me. But I'm just thinking. I feel like maybe you would have been more cautious in asking for making sure that it was the right girl when you called. So I'm gonna call bullshit on this one. I don't know. Yeah,
I'm
bullshit
interested
on
in
this.
finding out.
1,000% true story.
Really?
I still think about it to this day. It was just opening when that door opened and the face that was on the other side of that door. It was like
It was
I
really
So you
felt
should
so.
have done
I
more
felt.
research.
I felt so deflated. Yeah.
To be
Alright,
fair,
well,
this
I
was
ruined
before
that one.
catfishing, so he didn't know. He didn't know.
Oh yeah. This
That's
was
right.
before any of it. Yeah.
All right,
So you
Courtney,
got
that's one. I got you,
one.
girl.
I got one wrong. Okay, cool. So that's a hot $10. All right.
Hot 10.
So, all right, Carl. Wait, I didn't get to Carlos yet, right? Okay, Carlos. Since you are on the YouTubes and the interwebs, what is your? And I'm pretty sure you've run into a few. What is your most interesting celebrity spotting story?
Okay, so I've ran into a few celebs. I've been mistaken as a few celebs, but this story is kind of both.
You are a celebrity though.
Exactly.
No, I'm not there. I'm a public figure. There's a difference.
No
That's-
way.
Celebrity means that you get paid just to sit at home. I don't get paid for that yet. So Miguel, if you guys don't know who Miguel, he's a hip hop
Yes.
artist.
Daddy.
Miguel, Daddy, yes.
Daddy.
In real life, he's very short. He's like 5'6". And Hollywood does a very good job of making people look like they're bigger. So
He's teeny
me and my
tiny.
husband, we went and yes, he's teeny tiny in real life. But we went to the Show Box here in Seattle, and we didn't have tickets. But because I used to do my hair back in the day before I grew my afro, I did my hair in a pompadour style, and I looked just like the old Miguel. So we got through like security. Like they're like, oh yeah, like we just walked in. We got through security. We were ordering free drinks. And I don't know, and then people kept coming up to me like, are you Miguel? Are you his brother? So I went off the fact that I was his brother that night. And what I did was we just had a good ass night. So we got detained at the end of the concert because they said we were falsifying identities. But Miguel came out and he said, oh, damn, you really do look like me. And we actually figured out that our parents we're from the same town in Mexico. So we could be related. Our ancestors are from the same town in Mexico. And then we also have black. So like we both do kind of look similar. So yeah, he signed my t-shirt and he signed my jacket. And we got to meet him and his crew. And then we just went about our way and got a free concert.
Okay, I'm gonna break it down. So part of me says this is bullshit only because I remember specifically a few weeks ago you saying you've never had a run-in with security or cops before your current situation that you're in. So part of me says this might be bullshit, but the other part of me, it's just because you're Carlos and just things like this happen probably to you.
So it wasn't. I've never been. When I said that before, I've never been arrested. I've run into police before, like every other fucking day, but been
True.
arrested and charged, never been.
I'm gonna say this is bullshit. I'm gonna call bullshit on you.
And I'm actually gonna tag you on the. I have a video. You know me.
You know he has a video,
Of
girl.
Of course he has a video.
You know he has a video, girl.
Damn.
I have a video. It's a
girl.
true story, Chris. It happened. It's a true
Oh,
story. Chris and I met him.
goodness.
He signed our thing, and I will send you the video right now. You paying $10.
I can't because Doug just sent a picture of Miguel and I'm dying right now. Okay.
Amazing.
I get it now. I get it. All right. Anyway, so yeah, I screwed that one up. Okay. So on to Brandon. Back to Brandon. Okay. So
Okay.
your original question was your most embarrassing bodily function story, and go.
Well, it wasn't my bodily function. It wasn't my stuff, So I had a doctor's appointment. And in order for me, I was going for a job that I really wanted, and they did a drug test. So my dumb ass, I smoke weed. Everybody knows I smoke weed. So I come home to my roommate, and I'm freaking out. And they were like, "Oh yeah, you got this amount of time to get the drug test done. So you need to get it done ASAP." And I was like, "Yeah, no problem." I get in the car, I'm stressing out. I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do? I didn't know they sold, fake urine at these type of places. But I came home to my room and it was there. Boom. I was like, girl, give me a cup. I need you to do something for me. Don't ask no questions. Just do it. She said, no problem. I'll do it. So we had this pill bottle that she has. And, I put it in the microwave for a couple of minutes. I wasn't smart enough. I tried to get this shit done. So I put it in between my pants to keep it warm. And my pants or jeans are like actually tight. So it will hold. And like I had like a little boner, but that was fine. So I get to the doctor's office. I sign out my papers. I'm careful with this bottle in between my legs. It's a capsule bottle still in between my legs. I sit down, fill out all my paperwork, take it back up there, sit back down. They call my name. I stood up, and the pee that was in the bottle was out. I guess I got up way too fast where the cap popped off. So I had basically peed on myself, but it wasn't really my pee.
That's disgusting.
So yeah, that was that. And I had to leave after that. I was like, can I go home and change clothes at least? She was like, yeah, no problem. So I came back and redid it all again. And it turned out.
Did it work?
Okay.
It worked. It worked.
All right. Anyway, okay. This has happened to a lot of people. Okay. I'm going to say that is true only because I feel like you were recalling information. I don't think you were bullshitting it, but I'm going to say it's true. Am I right?
It is. Yes, girl, you're good. You're good here.
Save yourself some money, Court. Come on.
I know. I want to help out people, but it's good to save a couple bills. All right. So how did I do, Troy? I think it was 2-2, right?
Yep, you did. Right now you owe $20.
I owe $20. Okay, cool. So
cash or check or EBT, girl. What's one?
All right. So we'll just rack it up.
Wait, quick thing, Coco. I just posted the video of me meeting Miguel on our social media on Instagram, so y'all can definitely make sure she pay these $10.
I'm really mad. I got that wrong because I was actually I was so dead ass serious when I told you that I thought that was fucking bullshit. Because you're a perpetual bullshitter. One, and I love it. And I figured, he's got me going right now. But I was wrong. Anyway, so that's $20 to the GoFundMe of my choice. I'll be popping it up on our Facebook. And I'll also be announcing, I'll have Troy announce it actually at towards the end of the show. So you got to keep listening to know who's getting the $20 donation. We're going to try to do this each week for charity. And just because it provides some funny ass content, because we kind of get a little bit of taste of everybody's life. And, I get to be silly. So we're going to try this from week to week. Be sure to tune in next week, same time, same place. And we're going to kick it over to Savage Business with John. Here we go.
All right, so I absolutely have to say, I've never laughed so much in about 10 minutes that I did in the last 10 or 15 minutes. That was that
You're
was
welcome,
awesome.
John.
Brendan, yeah, your story was awesome. I was laughing the entire time. That was great. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about Savage Business, and I want to start this one off with something that's gone all over. Well, we're going to do two things. I got a number of emails this week saying how much they liked you guys answering some of the questions from entrepreneurs, mainly on the West Coast, but all over the United States. So I got a flood of emails again, so I'm going to ask a few questions. But I want to start with this and talk about really what's happening in business, but really what's happening kind of culturally and across sports. And the NCAA is a huge I mean, they're a $1 billion organization. They're a nonprofit organization, but they make billions of dollars every year. And most of the money they make is off football and basketball. The FBI, now whether or not the FBI should be investigating this or not, I don't think I think they have bigger fish to fry, but needless to say, they're engaged in it. So they're looking at how athletes, mainly in college basketball, are being paid, being bribed by advisors, financial advisors and agents, and then working with basketball teams, coaches to illegally get paid under the table for playing college basketball in the hopes that they will then sign with a financial advisor and agent once they leave. the basketball coach now coaches have been saying for years and years that they have no dealings with the money. They've never heard about this, and these constantly get denied and denied. Sean Miller, who's the basketball coach at Arizona, is on FBI wiretaps, literally discussing with an agent who has embezzled millions upon millions of dollars from high school kids that are going to go play college basketball. He's literally talking to the coach at Arizona, Sean Miller, talking about $100,000 exchange for one student to sign with the University of Arizona to play basketball. It's highly illegal, highly frowned upon, but I think we all know that it's been going on. And Courtney, I want to start with you since you're a sports fan and hopefully you've heard a little bit about this, but what is your stance on college athletes, being paid and then being bribed and coerced by these financial advisors and agents just so they can take money from them at a later date?
Well, for one, I'm a big person who's against bribing. I think it's very unethical, and I'm just like, being a business person, I just don't like that, in any regard. But as far as sports, it just takes the authentic, it's not authentic anymore when you have these players that get all these cars and all these gifts and this money and all that, and then they get into the league or whatever it is, and they've gotten there on false pretenses. It's not like it's more like people just fighting for the kid that they think is going to make the most money, which, yes, that is essentially the job that they have as agents or coaches or things like that. They're trying to make sure that person that they're putting all this effort into is going to go far, because in the end, they're going to be like, well, this guy made him. But for me, I just think it's such a cheap way to go up the ladder in sports. And so for me, I can't stand bribing. I think it's truly the most unethical thing you could really do in any sector of business or sports or anything. And then, to just kind of take it all away from them when they get in, further, and the agents or the coaches have gotten their use out of them. It's also a disservice to the athletes, and it kind of puts like a bad taste in people's mouths who really want to strive to kind of get to that level where they're recognized, they get money, they get famous, and they're a recognized sports player. So I think altogether, it's just, I can't stand it. It really irritates me, considering, yes, I am a big sports fan, and it just takes so much out of the spirit of athletes and the world of being an athlete in general.
Oh, I think it so much takes away from that spirit. And there's one line on one of the wiretaps of a financial advisor and an agent who are super shady, and both of them will be in jail for a long time, and they should. Where they kept saying a number of times, he says, listen, we're going to be running the NCAA. We can make millions of dollars off of just one kid. Wow. And that's how they look at these kids that want to play college sports. And it really makes me upset that you look at literally a kid that wants to do right by his family and right by life and right by sports and get an education as somebody that you're going to make millions of dollars off of, and you're going to do nothing. It really makes me upset. Doug, you want to chime in a little bit on this?
Well, sure. I think that, ethically, there's a big problem. If there wasn't an issue with ethics, then you wouldn't have to do it on the down low. And I think that it would be better to set up a little bit more of an even playing field across the board. And in the sports world, it's just really strange. I know here, like in California, for example, a lot of the kids go, whether it's club league basketball or club league soccer, and I'll use soccer as a reference. And circling back on America losing the World Cup this year, and they were talking about that. A lot of times kids that come from economically challenged areas don't get the opportunity to be in club league sports. Therefore, they're not chosen to go to the right universities, blah, 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 blah. And it goes all the way down the line. So I think that if you have to do something when it comes to bribing and doing things in not such a reputable way, it's a problem. And I think that it would be better to face things kind of head on and create a better platform that didn't have to go to such, just devious ways of trying to extort kids at such a young age. and so, yeah, I would think that there's probably, it's a bummer that happens, and I don't think it's a great idea. But the maybe the silver lining is like, how about trying to do something in a positive way so it's an even playing field for the players that rise to the occasion.
Yeah, and you make a great point, and what really upsets me the most is the extortion of kids by advisors and agents that most oftentimes come from communities that are socioeconomically very low rated, don't see a ton of wealth, don't see a ton of success, and it's these kind of snakes in the grass going off of somebody that's already weak in a number of ways and kind of uneducated in especially finance. And that's really the main thing that gets me upset. But that extortion of kids that are kind of weak in those areas, or not weak, I should say, vulnerable is a better word, but just really infuriates me. Carlos, do you want to chime in on this one?
Yeah, so I agree with you totally about them taking advantage of the people who are come from like a lower poverty level and a less educated level. But you guys know me; I'm always the devil's advocate. In the same turn, everyone who went to college was dumbed and lied to about your student loans and about how you would pay it off. So anyone who was trying to make themselves better, we've all been lied to. I know I was lied to about how they explain how student loans work. So the fact that these athletes are actually getting full scholarships, and then on top of that, yeah, they might be getting millions taken from them, but they're getting millions to like do work that they love to do. And I really think that it's not for us to judge if they feel like they were taken advantage of or not. Because like you said, a lot of them go on to the NFL, and they go on to do big things in these different sports leagues and become millionaires and billionaires. So I don't think it's fair for us to be like, oh, well, your money got taken, because we really don't know what was set behind doors. We don't know what was set in the expectations. And being a businessman, there have been things where I tell people, like, if you want this to go through, you're going to have to promise me some return in the future. And very necessarily might have not mentioned what I expected in return. But if you became a professional athlete and you're doing good, I will show up later and be like, all right, I helped you there. Now I need my money back. So I don't agree with it, but I also don't think it's any of my business or concern, because I don't know what happened behind doors. Those young men did get their contracts, and they are making a lot of money. And that's more than a lot of other college students can say.
Yeah, and I think you actually took a great stance there. I think you're right in a lot of ways on that, especially helping somebody out to further themselves, I think, is a good thing. But if you're going to help, a student athlete further themselves and be great at something, help them the right way. Don't be some creep snake, trying to go about things the wrong way to try and help somebody. Just be genuine, and good things will come back to you. And so I want to bring that up. That's been it's been a hot topic of discussion, especially out here on the West Coast, being that so many things are going down in Arizona. Now, I want to kind of transfer into a little bit more upbeat of a segment. And Carlos, I want to start with you again. So this comes from Christina in Scottsdale.
Hi,
who is your shout out, Christina? Who is your hero and why?
My hero is myself. I'm the only person.
Selfish plug for Carlos there?
No,
I'm kidding.
No, literally. If you guys if you listen to Kendrick Lamar's new song, I think it's called Hero, or they played it on the Black Panther. It's like the main song for the Black Panther movie. But in the song, he says it, and I love this rap. He says, "Looking for a hero. Who's looking for a hero? Look in the mirror. That's yourself." Like, no one. I've said this before, I believe. No one comes into this world with you, and no one's going to leave this world with you. You might have people who are very influential, who you love, but no one's going to save you. And that's something that I had to learn very young in foster care, that no one's going to save you, bruh. The only ones that's going to save your life and make your life better is you. And the situation I'm going through right now is I'm pulling back on those old feelings and that old confidence I had in foster care, where I was just like, you know what, you're on your own. No one's going to care about your sob story. No one's going to care. But you know what? Who does care more than you? No one. So I am my own idol. I look up to myself. I keep myself responsible, and I don't like to compare myself to other people or even any celebrity or God, because honestly, everyone's different. You will never be that person, but you can be you. You can be the best version of you.
I think that's a good answer. And Carlos, I think that this is just my humble opinion. I think you're going to be a hero for a lot more people than you probably even understand someday. So I'm glad you're a hero to yourself. Courtney, what about you? Who's your hero and why?
I'm gonna say my dad. Because even though I've gone through a lot when I was younger, and I don't have the fondest memories of when I was a kid because I did have like a lot of things that we kind of went through together, and I went through on my own. But none of it was ever his fault, and he's always like been upbeat, and he's always like when things were rough, he's always pulled out all the stops just to make sure that we were safe and comfortable, and he always managed to find a way to make things work and make things not get to rock bottom. And even today, like he's such a force when it comes to just having. He has a lot of pride, and I look up to that because I'm a very prideful person myself. And so when things get rough, even though things are much better now, when things get rough, he always pulls through, and it's just such an inspiration because it's hard to find people who are so resilient nowadays. So I think definitely him because I look up to him as to how to deal with a lot of things, especially hardships, and coming out on top.
Yeah, that's good. Kids that have parents that are heroes to them, I think you're very, very lucky, very, very lucky, and lucky to be blessed. Troy, what about you? Who's your hero and why? Troy, you around?
Going to be I think he's skipping out on this segment. I think he got a little.
Good. I didn't want him in here anyway. Doug, what about you? Who's your hero and why?
I'm going to go for my hero of the week is going to be Steve Jobs. And the reason why is because he was able to be a game changer in respect to culture and how the world communicates, and always kept an eye on function and form. And so I love the products that he designed, and I love the packaging of the products that he designed. So I'm going to give the thumbs up this week to Mr. Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs is pretty awesome. So hero of the week. Maybe that's a segment for another time. Doug, you can host that. So I'll give mine two different ways. So I'll give mine just as a human being, and then I want to give a business one as well. Just as being a person, it's my grandfather, and my grandfather was, very stubborn, very hard nosed, kind of a control freak in some ways, and a lot of people didn't get that. But he was also the guy that would literally drop everything for you at a moment's notice. He would do whatever it would take to make sure you succeed, to make sure you get to places you want to go. If you needed money, he'd give you the shirt off his back. And, that's the way I try to live my life is I'll do whatever it takes to help people get to wherever they want to go. In terms of business, Ray Dalio, who's one of the best, just in terms of finance, one of the best investors of all time. But I'm not looking about that as a finance way. The way he runs his business and is the same way we run my company. As transparent as it can possibly get, letting the best ideas flood to the top through just being transparent and honest at work and not being shady, not having ulterior motives, but just being fully transparent with one another, being a true team mentality, like utilizing each other and leveraging each other to get to places they never would otherwise. And that's kind of the way I look at how successful businesses are going to run over the next 10 years. And that's who's really gonna thrive.
John, real quick, can I throw some out there too? I also want to give a shout out to Jeff Bezos because I think he's extremely innovative.
Nice.
And I love how the facilities, especially in my region, employ a lot of minorities. And I know a lot of people are going to get mad at me because they say, well, it's just like being a slave. Well, the difference is you're getting paid, you have a job, and it's a choice. And I love seeing my people have work, consistent work, great benefits, great, everything is in their favor. The hours are long, but it's a great workforce, and I really want to just give a heads up to him. And you know what? We're just going to make him our unofficial sponsor. We're going to say Amazon, our unofficial sponsor. We want to give a shout out to you guys. Thank you for the Prime. Get my packages here sometimes on time. But definitely shout out to Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, okay. Shout out to Amazon, future sponsor of Savage Media Radio.
Yes.
Go, Doug.
And let me just add, Jeff, if you're listening, and I know you are, good fella,
Yes.
would you mind?
He's here every week.
Yeah, I know you're here, brother. Would you mind taking the NRA TV off of your Amazon platform? They represent a lot
good.
of really bad stuff, and I believe in Amazon, and I think that your company will survive if you just get rid of that yucky station. So ditch NRA
Yes.
TV, and you got and I believe in you and believe in your brand.
I second that.
I third that. Sure. Jeff also has a great line. His line is, I used to sell books. Now I sell whatever the fuck I want.
Love it.
So respect to that. Yeah. So I'll keep this next one quick, but it's a good question. Courtney, I want to start with you. What's the best piece of advice you ever received that inspires you to succeed?
Probably so cliche, but definitely never give up. Because coming from a business aspect and having a personal aspect as well, because I've suffered from anxiety and depression, and also I've done that while getting into becoming an entrepreneur, which also causes anxiety and depression. I had to learn how to just not give up and let my struggles get the best of me. So definitely not giving up and just believing in yourself. When times get hard, things are going to get better. You just have to believe in yourself, believe in your strengths, believe in your qualities and your skills, and you'll go far.
That's a good one. Carlos, what about you? What's the best piece of advice you ever received and that inspires you to succeed?
Let's see. For me personally, the best advice that I've ever received was actually from a manager at Chick-fil-A who liked me, but he said I couldn't work there because I didn't hold company values.
Was he racist?
Obviously.
And did he not like gay people?
No, he loved blacks because we worked hard. But he just didn't like the fact that I was wearing nail polish at the shop or at the store. But he did leave me with some good advice, and he says, everything you do in life, I think I've said this before, I don't know, but everything you do in life, you put the extra in the ordinary. That way, everything in your life becomes extraordinary. So if you just add the word extra and ordinary together, so put extra into everything. Be extra.
That's so cute.
Extra. And then everything you do will become extraordinary if you put the extra work in it. So yeah, it was like a cute little saying, and it always
shout out to Mr. Chick-fil-A.
But shout out to Mr. Chick-fil-A. I feel like your chicken dough.
Carlos, I will say this. I actually used your put your extra into the ordinary and it becomes extraordinary line a couple weeks ago with a client of mine.
You need to get your money, Carlos.
So I did steal that. The reference is just just a little bit late. I forgot to tell you that. Doug, what about you? Best piece of advice you ever received that inspires you to succeed?
When walking into a meeting at a record label, I remember thinking to myself, how am I going to do this? And a buddy of mine pulled me aside and said to me, quote, "Some will, some won't, so what?" And he was referring to that some are going to understand you, some are not going to understand you, and you have to just be able to just hold your ground and stay focused on what you believe in, and the rest just kind of will just, work itself out.
I love that. I'm going to get that tattooed.
Yep. Some will, some won't, so what?
I love that.
Who'd you hear that from?
I heard it from a friend of mine named Mark Vahanian, and he and I, he's a motivational speaker and a guy that does executive counseling, helping companies work better infrastructure-wise with themselves. And so he and I were talking. We were talking about business and stuff, and that's what he said. He said, "There you go. Some will, some won't. So what? You just got to be able to just move on. Just be focused. You're not going to get everybody in the room. Some are going to get it. Some aren't going to get it. And you have to be okay with just be like, okay, cool. Not everybody's going to get it. It's okay."
Yeah. No. Yeah. I totally agree with that one. And a lot of people struggle with that. It's okay if somebody doesn't get it, somebody doesn't like it. It's okay. It's no big deal. Best line I ever got was from a mentor that I had in grad school, Dr. Mary Jo Sarascani. Shout out if you're listening, Mary Jo. It's always okay to not know. It's never okay to keep not knowing. And I literally live by that every day, and I think so many people get caught up in buying into the status quo that is society, is finance, is business, is job, everything. that they forget to keep learning and keep growing, and that there are always better options. That it's okay to not know that there are better options or better things. It's okay. It's just not okay when you hear about them to keep not knowing. And learning is so powerful and meaningful to me that I hope somebody uses that someday. Maybe Carlos will steal that someday and use it. But yeah, it's always okay to not know. It's never okay to keep not knowing. You guys got anything else for Savage Business?
Good.
Just keep going.
Courtney?
You got this. It will not get the better of you. Keep going. And be a sponsor, please.
Yeah, Jeff, I'll shoot you a text message in the morning. Maybe we can talk about a little sponsorship deal. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the show. And I'm passing this thing on. Fight on. Let's go.
That's right, guys. We're back with Today in Music. Anyway, that's how I'm over. Anyway, I'm coming at you today with some music trends of 2018 from TimeInc.net. So I just, doing some research, and I always like to, find new things I don't know about, or things I know about I think that nobody else knows about. And this is something I just was curious about. So again, Time.com, Time Inc. They made up a review about music trends they're expecting for 2018. What they want you to listen for 2018. First thing they said is they're bringing back the boy band. I don't know if you guys noticed, but a lot of boy bands are coming back. If you haven't noticed, definitely you're gonna see it this year. So this is what they said: from NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys to One Direction and 5 Seconds of Summer, boy bands come in waves, and right now a new generation of groups is cresting. They are the preppy teenage social media stars of Why Don't We? The flip-throwback grooves have been a cappella leaning pretty much the fan-fueled sensation of Korea pop juggernaut BTS. The hip-hop vibes of Brockhampton, I guess. I might be wrong, but I could send the website so you can see it. And the Latin answer to One Direction, CNCO, backed by Simon Cowell. Diverse in sound and composition. It's an increasing crowd feel. So those are a couple of different new groups, as well as some of the old groups we're used to, that boy bands that are coming back. One thing I have to say about this, though, come on, TimeInc.net. Why you ain't got any of those other groups like Boyz II Men, like Jagged Edge, like 112? They coming back too. Don't do it. Escape. Come on. Don't leave our people out now. I'm just saying. We can talk about that later. If y'all
There's like a fine line, Troy, between like R&B groups and boy bands. So I think that's probably where they got that divide.
Oh, I see. I just thought about.
You was getting hot. I had to shut it down.
Yeah, you're right. You're my bad. But I feel like if you're gonna talk about boy bands, you need to talk about the overall group coming back in general. Like that's what maybe that's what's missing. Let me rephrase that. Thanks you, Coco and Brandon. Y'all get me together. Yeah, because you saw me. I was about to say.
Yeah.
Let me write y'all a letter. I don't know. I get it, but I feel like they should include that because that's true. Like they all coming back. I was just 2 weeks ago. One of my homegirls I do music with and friends in the music, Danielle Martin, opened up for Boyz II Men. After her I stole the thing off her door. The thing that just put your name on the door, I stole it off and I got it in my house right here in my mirror. She opened up for Boyz II Men and I got to experience that. It was dope. It was awesome. And it was amazing. So, that's what made me think about that. Wait, where Boyz II Men at? They not a boy band though? The R&B group, whatever. Fine. Moving on. Moving right along. They said the Latin takeover. The Latin takeover. So this is what we need to be looking for. Despacito remix by Luis Fonsi and Daddy Yankee broke records in its path to global domination in 2017. It also cleared the field for a flood of follow-up hits with Latin roots like J Bell's Mi Gente with Beyonce remix and Camila Cabello's Havana and DJ Khaled's Wild Thoughts. Each were written with traditional Latin music styles like reggaeton and samba. The past few years saw plenty of dancehall, Caribbean rhythms, and pop and electric music. But the rise and the return of artists like Shakira, Jennifer Lopez, and Maloma include the Spanish language takeovers picking up its stream. And last but not least, the third thing they said is ladies first on R&B. Let's see if we see these R&B groups or anything like that. No. But it's a ladies first on R&B. And this is what they said. R&B is finding a new direction thanks to the visionary woman pushing the genre forward. From SZA's Grammy-nominated debut to the soulful, political, mindful sound of Solange, that's a whole new soundscape emerging from the mix of personalities with distinct musical and emotional perspectives. This alt R&B is female first, lyrical vulnerability, and delivered in precision. It's a fresh genre pioneered by artists settling into the new seats at the table. I don't disagree with that. Okay, ladies, first in R&B. That's the truth. They're killing it. I just think the category they're missing. Come on, let me put my category in there since it's missing. Let's last but not least put the R&B, groups back in there. That's coming back, making a comeback. There's a 90s throwback concert happening in Madison Square Garden in March. I saw. 90s, all of that coming back. So let's put that in there. TimeInc.net. All right, cool. I'm gonna move on. What you guys think? Let's go, Brandon. Brandon, what you think about what they're telling about this music trends? Do you think that are you looking at any of this? Are you thinking like, let me watch out for that? What are you thinking?
I can definitely say, okay, we can talk about the boy band because that was funny. I can definitely say a couple of them can make a comeback. The old B2K, the old what is it called? Pretty Ricky's coming back. Right. Those are the type of people that I would love to see come back. But other than that, I can kind of get into the trends that's coming out now. It's something brand new, something to get your name out there, something that you can start fresh on. You took a couple of years off, won't hurt. You come back with a fresh start. There's new material out there you can grab from, new producers, new artists. Anybody can collaborate with anybody this year since it's starting off fresh. So I'm with it.
So you cool with this? Copy. Okay. Hi. All right. Brandon's down with time. All right, Doug, what you think about all of that we just said? You can talk about any one part. You want me to repeat a little bit of something? I can repeat the 3 categories. Go ahead, I'm listening.
I think every year there's a new crop of 12-year-olds, and so I think that the boy band phenomena is just it's alive and kicking, and it's gonna keep going. And then as far as people reinventing themselves, and I think as long as it's almost like. I'm going to snapshot forward and say not 12 years old, but do you remember whatever music you listened to the first time you made out with someone? That music is going to be in your heart for the rest of your life. And as you get older, you're going to always want to go back and revisit that time capsule, if you will. So if it's, fill in the blank, whatever the band is, One Direction, whatever it is, you're going to want to transport back to that time and place, and you'll hold those artists in great regard. And if people want to go see your music and you're making people happy and they're showing up, freaking keep doing it. Do it as long as you can, and that's great. Right. You're making people happy, regardless of what it is. And then for the newbies coming up, of course, there's always going to be, there's a lot of, especially now in business, and John would know a lot about this in blockchain business, where it's like, a lot of these deals that artists are working out right now have a lot to do with all the components, whether it's the recordings or whether it's ancillary products or whether it's the merchandising. And they sign these mega deals that kind of cover all of the live concerts, all these parts. So that's kind of interesting too. And I think that if you're connecting with people, whether they're 12-year-olds or whether they're 42-year-olds, and people are coming out to see you, I think it's great. On the Latin side of things, it's about time. Man, here in Los Angeles, there's a lot of Latin people. In the United States, there's a lot of Latin people. And so I've seen that I've seen those bridges cross more and more and cross-pollinate. And so I'm familiar with the Daddy Yankee track. And being a guy that's like, I know I'm probably the only guy that watched the Grammy Awards and saw Ricky Martin when he performed on the Grammy Awards.
Yep.
Anybody, right? And I can say this. When I saw him do that, I thought, holy smokes, what is that? And so I do believe that there's always been room for Latin music to cross over into American pop culture. And in Latin culture, they're always huge, but it's great to see it kind of cross-pollinating. I think that's great, and it's about time.
Yeah, and at the moment, come on, Doug. That was very insightful. Thank you for that. Appreciate that for real. That's what I love about this podcast. Again, every week, we always get some great insight. That's what I'm talking about. Shout out to you, Courtney. Let's go with Courtney real fast.
Okay, real quick.
Courtney, what you think?
Because you got heated off of something in this article, so it's my turn. I don't like SZA or Solange. I'm sorry. People gonna come at me. I don't give a fuck. Because
I don't like Solange, girl. You can keep. I like SZA though.
I
like
think
Solange.
they're whiny and just unnecessary. I don't know. I just don't. I don't feel it. I'm sorry, but I'm tired of them throwing shade to Janae Aiko and Seven Streeter, cause them bitches are fire and like nobody lists them in any fucking list. They don't get any awards. Those bitches are oh my god, their albums are amazing. They're fire. So I just wanted to throw a little shade at that list because they weren't on that, but whatever, it's okay. As far as as far as the Latin music though, I am really it's about time, like Doug said. I'm really excited about that. I'm glad that there's more Latin flavor coming into mainstream music, and because I'm a lover of soca, calypso, island music, Latin music has that island vibe. It's got island roots. The same type of swagger and beat and textures and all kinds of things that are in island Caribbean music, and I love it. I don't ever know what they're saying, but does not matter to me. I just know that it makes me move my body, so I'm excited about that. And then on to the boy bands. I am so excited because I saw New Kids on the Block, Boyz II Men, and 98 Degrees perform, I think, like 2 years ago. And when I tell you New Kids on the Block put those young boys to shame, that whole concert, it was fire. Like, they be moving like in, like, you know, dumb shit. And they, oh my God, they were fire. So I'm super excited. If they still got it, come on with it.
Got it. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Thanks, Corey. You know, we got to kick things over to John. You know, we got to get the boss's, opinion. John, what do you think about all this with the music trends and what Tom McDonough was saying? What do you think?
Well, when you said boy bands were coming back, like and I can't get it out of my head. I'm really trying to think past it. Like, I can't get over like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and like 96 Degrees. No, 90,
TBSB.
98.
What?
Yeah, 98 Degrees. Yeah, Backstreet Boys. Like, I just can't. Like, when I hear boy bands, like, that's the only thing I could think. So I'm totally like I just can't even. I can't even imagine like any of that coming back. And I don't think you're talking about that. But Doug made a great point about like these huge mega deals and boy bands. Why boy bands I think are so attractive to like business owners and record companies is because they always sign like these huge mega deals. Like, there's always T-shirts, there's like pop-up things that go on with these people. They do TV shows. They have like just the touring is like they make like so much money just in tours and the merch, like that they are so attractive to record companies. It's unbelievable how much money NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys made for not only themselves, but
wait, chiming in. Did you know that they actually didn't get to keep most of that money? They actually didn't get any of it.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. They made a lot of money, but almost all the money went to the record companies. I know
think it was
Capitol
John
was
Perlman.
one of them.
He's in jail now for that too, by the way.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
You know what? That wouldn't shock me. Yeah, that wouldn't shock me because those guys got like extorted, like so much money that they should have gotten, like they never even saw, and it's crazy because these record companies made like billions of dollars off of them, and now I think the Backstreet Boys even made a comeback or tried to make a comeback over the last couple of years because I know a couple of them went broke.
Yeah. Do you remember before we were talking about sports and we were talking about like whether it's ethical to try to take advantage of somebody that really doesn't have the business smarts? That's the same thing in the music world. It's like these people can get taken advantage of so easily, and you can find what was the you can find bands that, an example would be, they do all these records and they do all these tours and they're in debt and they end up having to file bankruptcy. And that is the harsh reality of business, let alone entertainment or sports. It can be like that, Yeah, it's tough.
Right.
I totally agree with you, but I also want to pull a Carlos right now and play the devil's advocate. Since Carlos left, he has bigger and better things to do. I'll take the Carlos role, and a lot of these big artists they do go bankrupt and they don't have as much money as they should. But there's also a lot of times when they take their money and just spend it lavishly. Mm-hmm. Houses, cruises, cars. Like, look at like the big like rap trends in like late 90s, early 2000s, where everybody had like these huge like diamond chains that they would spend like $500,000 on. And so, yes, they're not getting all the money that they should have, and probably too much is going to the record companies. But is it the fact that like that newfound fame and freedom not necessarily inspires, but motivates people to go like lavishly spend like their newfound wealth or whatnot? I mean, I don't know. I'm asking you guys, I guess.
I mean, people always want to spend their money on, that's nothing new. I mean, get money, spend them on things you never had before. That's always been, but I don't think that's what it is now. I think that the younger people now are taking more power for what they're having to do. They take more power now by being independent and doing things on their own. Because I'm one of those people right now as an artist. My goal is not to be signed by a label. I just want to get distribution through a label. But I don't want to be signed by a label because I don't want my creativity being taken away from anybody, because I'm more powerful. To me, I'll be more powerful being who I am and being able to have the platform that I am and talk the way I am than allow somebody to have control over what I have to do. I won't give that up now at this point in my life. I know that I don't have to. And if I could do things I could do it my own self, I don't have to depend on. It's not the way things used to be before. People don't buy albums anymore. That's why you go on tour and that's why you do shows, and that's what you do. And so in that, that's what happens. So
and you make a great point, because I have a client that owns a small record label in Southern California, and I was meeting with him end of last week, and we were just kind of hanging out, and I was asking him about, the record industry and that. And I said, really, like, what's going on? Are you actually making money on record sales anymore? Like, is that still an industry? And he says the industry is going absolutely extinct. Just because of what you said right there, Troy.
Wait,
like, you don't want to get signed anymore.
Don't say no more. Because you know why? You just inspired me. We're going to finish this conversation next week on Today in Music, because that is something that's very important. You just said something about does labels still exist and all of that. We need to do a little bit more research and be able to bring that back to people. So if they're listening, you got to get part 2 next week. We're going to come back to that, because I think it's very important that if somebody like me, I need to hear some of these things that you're saying, one, if I don't already know, and two, I may be able to also help you know some things you may not know already either. So I feel like that's something we're going to need that valuable time to talk about it, and we don't have it right now. So with that being said, thank you guys for Today in Music. It was pretty freaking awesome. I love, the fact that, hey, it's a new year. Things are coming up. We like it. We don't like it. It is what it is. Your opinion don't pay nobody's bills, so who cares?
It was okay.
Something else. Keep shining bright as a diamond as an artist. Keep getting your coin. Don't let nobody stop you from doing what it is what you want to do. And you don't need to be able to do that. You can do it your own goddamn self. But we're going to find out more from John and myself next week when we talk about this. Until then, we're going to keep things moving. We're still listening with Doug. Let's go.
Hey everybody, welcome to I'm Still Listening. I'm your host Doug Carrion, and in this segment I'm going to be highlighting the coolest independent hip-hop, indie rock, and electronic music now available on SoundCloud. Check it out.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's just about that time. Mr. Doug Carrion, I'm Still Listening. We're going to explore the first track's a dream pop track, and a lot of people might not know what that means, dream pop, but post the punk world, as guitars get more layered and more affected, there's a genre called dream pop, which is really like almost that halfway between I just woke up, but I'm not completely all the way awake. That's what dream pop is right there. So I'm picking an artist called No Vacation. It's a song called Yam Yam. If you love it, check it out in the links. We'll post it, but you could find him on SoundCloud.com, No-Vacation. Here it comes. Well, there you go. A little bit of dream pop. Love it. From No Vacation, track called Yam Yam. Second track of the night, all the way from Stockholm, Sweden, the folk duo called First Aid Kit with a song called Wolf. If you love it, Wichita-Recordings on SoundCloud. You can find them. Away we go.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. That was Still Listening with Doug. We do that each and every week. Stay tuned. We always have a different variety of things. Doug does a great job of doing what he does. But still listening, so thank you for that, for Doug. Thank you, Doug, for that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our show. That is the end of show 12. Woo, woo. We did it. We made it. We're live. We're still here. And so shout out to everyone that tuned in today. Shout out to everyone that tuned in today that was in the chat room, maybe talking in, or everyone that gave us some information and helped us get this show together today. We really appreciate it. But before we go, we also have to shout out Miss Courtney and her Straight Savage segment today. And, you know, Straight Savage, she got 2 answers wrong, so she had to donate some money on GoFundMe. So the GoFundMe goes to Callie's Sightseeing Bucket List. She is getting ready to turn 7 in a couple weeks. And at age 2, she was diagnosed with a very rare genetic retinal disease called FEVR. So she's raising some money so that she can, you know, do this bucket list. Her sightseeing bucket list, some ideas. She's just to let you know a little bit about it. Sand dunes, she completed at SeaWorld, the Feeds, Disney World, snow, Nutcracker, so many things she completed. So, shout out to Courtney and Sam. Shout out to Savage Media Radio for donating that money to Cali Sightseeing Bucket List. So she's about to get that money. The link is going to be up on our social media on Facebook. So you definitely can check it out if you guys want to donate to it as well. We would love to, show out Savage, baby. That's all we do. So thank you, Courtney, for being a woman of your word and making it happen. That's what we do. We keep it savage and we be bosses about it. And that should conclude today. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, you can listen to us live here each and every week at Spreaker.com, live each and every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We love when you chat us up in the chat room. We're on iHeartRadio, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube. Check us out. You got to follow Spreaker, ladies and gentlemen. Please, please. I'm on my knees, but you can't see it. Please follow us on Spreaker.com. We really need you guys' support. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get a lot of listeners, but we ain't got no followers on Spreaker. So maybe, come on, what we got to do? You know what I'm saying? What we need. Come on, Courtney. We got to make sure we're giving our giveaways and stuff.
Yes.
So we get people understand what's going on.
Step our game up.
Get them motivated. Please. Come on. The tiger. We got to do this, y'all. We need your help. We need y'all support. You know what I'm saying? To keep us going. That's what we love to do. We love what we're doing. We need y'all on Patreon.com. Even if it's $1, come on. Everybody got a friend. Come on, friends. Y'all got Apple Pay. Y'all got y'all debit card top to your phone. They're like $1, $5, $10, any dollar. Savage Media Radio once a month to keep our Patreon going. Let them know, hey, we can get some sponsors going. That's what we need to focus on this week, guys. All of y'all, including our listeners.
We're gonna get Amazon though. We'll close that deal this week. Yeah.
Listen, don't play with me now. Don't get me too excited. You know what I'm saying? I'm a kid from the hood. Don't get me excited like that. I love, making business moves. But Amazon real big. Don't get me excited. Let's go. Matter of fact, let's put it out to Amazon. You hear us? We here. This is our 12th show. We're talking about you. Now it's time to get these sponsors up. What's good, y'all? We here. We 12 weeks strong. Our listeners been growing. We doing what we doing. We got people listening and tuning. We definitely informative. We definitely savage. If we ain't anything else, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed our show this week. That was, again, week 12. We will be here this time, same place next week. We love you guys, and we do everything as we always do. We end it all the same way. By letting you know what it is, y'all. Stay savage. Woo, woo. Woo. Don't leave me hanging, y'all. What's up?